This is the Sabbath School lesson for the fourth quarter, 2021.
Lesson 13 from our series Present Truth in Deuteronomy is titled The Resurrection of Moses, ready for teaching on December 25, and I'm Percy Harrold. Monday, December 20, The Sin of Moses, Part 2. Read again Numbers 20, verses 12 and 13. What specific reason did the Lord give to Moses for why he couldn't go over because of what he did? Numbers 20, beginning at verse 12. Then the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron, because you did not believe me to hallow me in the eyes of the children of Israel. Therefore you shall not bring this assembly into the land which I have given them. This was the water of Meribah, because the children of Israel contended with the Lord, and he was hallowed among them. And we'll also look at Deuteronomy 31 verse 2. And he said to them, I am 120 years old today. I can no longer go out and come in. Also the Lord has said to me, you shall not cross over this Jordan. And Deuteronomy 34 verse 4. Then the Lord said to him, this is the land of which I swore to give Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give it to your descendants. I have caused you to see it with your eyes, but you shall not cross over there. According to this text, there was more to Moses' sin than just his own attempt to take the place of God, which was bad enough. He also showed a lack of faith, which for someone like Moses would be inexcusable. After all, this is the man who, from the burning bush, as recorded in Exodus chapter 3 onward, had, unlike most people, an experience with God, and yet, according to the text, Moses did not believe me. That is, Moses showed a lack of faith in what the Lord had said, and as a result he had failed to hallow me before the children of Israel. In other words, had Moses kept his calm and done the right thing by showing his own faith and trust in God amid their apostasy, he would have glorified the Lord before the people and been again an example to them of what true faith and obedience were like. Notice, too, how Moses had disobeyed what the Lord told him specifically to do. Read Numbers 20, verse 8. What had the Lord told Moses to do, but what did Moses do instead? Numbers 20, verse 8. Take the rod, you and your brother Aaron, gather the congregation together, speak to the rock before their eyes, and it will yield its water. Thus you shall bring water for them out of the rock, and give drink to the congregation and their animals. And what did he do in verses 9 to 11? So Moses took the rod from before the Lord as he commanded him, and Moses and Aaron gathered the assembly together before the rock, and he said to them, Hear now, you rebels, must we bring water for you out of this rock? Then Moses lifted his hand and struck the rock twice with his rod, and water came out abundantly, and the congregation and their animals drank. Verse 9 was Moses taking the rod as the Lord had commanded him. So far, so good. But by verse 10, instead of speaking to the rock, from which water would have flowed as an astounding expression of God's power, Moses struck it, not once, but twice. Yes, hitting a rock and having water come from it was miraculous, but certainly not as miraculous as just speaking to it and seeing the same thing happening. Sure, on the surface it might have seemed that God's judgment upon Moses was extreme. After all that Moses had been through, he was not going to be allowed to cross over into the promised land. For as long as this story has been told, people have wondered why, because of one rash act, would what he had been anticipating for so long be denied him. So to finish the day, what lesson do you think the children of Israel should have learned from what happened to Moses? This lesson was read by Dr. Percy Harrold for Christian Services for the Blind. Sponsored by the Sabbath School Department and distributed through Hope Channel Australia, this podcast is also redistributed by Hope Channel Germany, Christian Record Services for the Blind, and It Is Written. It is also available on SoundCloud and through multiple podcast distributors, including Apple iTunes. Remember, God is always faithful.